My name is Brittany Smith, and on January the 16th of 2018, I was assaulted, I was beaten, I was raped, and I was almost killed in my own home, and then I was charged with murder. Hey guys, I'm here with Big Bape on the Move to do an interview just to clear up some rumors and some things that I've seen on social media, some questions that some of you have had regarding the recently released documentary State of Alabama versus Brittany Smith. And I would just like to answer those for you guys and just to give you a rundown of what happened in my own words. So, to make the story kind of make sense to y'all, to help y'all understand a little bit more about my life and about what actually did happen, to fill in a little bit of the gaps, I'm going to start back in 2012 when I started abusing drugs. And I'm going to give you a little rundown of that. So, I got married back in 2007. I had two beautiful children. On my third pregnancy, my son was full term. He passed away from Potter syndrome back in March of 2012, and that was really hard on my family and me. So, so instead of you know dealing with it the way that people think that they would deal with it, I dealt with it in in the wrong way, but at the time it felt like the right way to me. Um, I, I tried to stay strong after that because my grandmother was, she had gotten really sick with cancer too right after that. And so I had to be strong for her and for my family. Well, then she passed away in 2013. And so I kind of spiraled out of control in drug addiction with drugs. Uh, this is not how I met Todd. I just want to clear that up. This is just the story leading up to. And you have to understand and just bear with me, please. I'm going to be emotional. This is my life. It's not some made up story. So I apologize in advance. So after my grandma died, my husband and I kind of spiraled out of control with drugs. And in 2014, I decided that I was done with that lifestyle. I have two babies at home. Um, DHR had gotten involved in the meantime with my husband and I, back and forth with each other, in and out of each other's lives. So I checked myself into rehab, and I successfully completed a program in Alabama. Uh, and I felt great at the time, just felt like I was doing great things in life. I was taking steps to get my children back. Between 2014 and 2016, I was actively participating in programs, taking steps to get my children back. Because, like I said, during my drug addiction, I had some complications with DHR. I submitted random drug testing, and meanwhile, my husband and I were back and forth in our relationship. He wasn't ready to be in recovery and to take the steps that I had taken. So, even though we tried, it's been a rocky relationship. So, in 2017, I had my youngest daughter, my last daughter, and I had felt like I was going to relapse. So, honestly, I'm just going to be real with y'all. I joined a halfway program to avoid relapsing because I was so close to getting my children home, and I had this new baby on the way, and I just needed some help. I needed some stepping stones. And so I checked myself into the halfway program. I came out and I had two jobs. I was working at a little local restaurant here in Stevenson, and also a carpet factory. You don't have really big choices around this area. So I had saved up enough money while I was in the halfway center. We were working at the chicken plant. Well, I'd saved up enough money to rent this house that had enough bedrooms for all four of my children and myself, plus whatever, it was just, I was doing really good in life. Um, at that time, my husband decided that he was going to come back, and we decided that we were going to try to work things out. And then, right before Christmas in 2017, he left again. And so, a few weeks later, I saw one of my friends, and he had a puppy. And so I was like, oh, I want one of those. Like, that would be great for my kids to grow up with. That would be protection. A pit puppy, everybody thinks that they're horrible, but pits are really just, they're loyal animals. So, I got in contact with I got in contact with the owner of the puppies, which is Todd. And in the meantime of me getting the puppies or working out, a date for when I could pick up the puppy, I had a home inspection, which it mentions on the documentary, for DHR to come and inspect my home to see the progress that I've made in my life and for my children and myself. So she comes and she inspects the home. I'm looking to get my kids back that very next week. And it was just an amazing time in my life. Like, I fought a long and a hard road to get there, and I'm not saying that I didn't bring a lot of that on myself, because I did. But to get back to the story with Todd, I messaged him on Facebook, but it was strictly about a dog. There's been a lot of rumors that we were together or that we partied together. Those are completely false. Todd and I never had a relationship. We didn't even have a friend relationship. Like, we were acquaintances through an acquaintance. Did I know him while I was growing up? Yeah, I knew him, but we didn't just, call each other up and say, hey, you want to go hang out, or anything like that. He was known for his dogs. I got a hold of Todd on Facebook, through Facebook, and was asking him about the dogs and how many he had left, boys or girls, just regular questions that you'd ask. And he got back in touch with me. So on the 13th of January 2018, I had a friend take me to his house in Jasper, Tennessee, and we went to kind of see the puppies, hang out for a minute, try to get their personalities, try to get to know them a little bit. And I decided that I wanted the female. So I paid him half then and came back home to Stevenson. On the 14th is when my friend and we rode back up there. I made the final payment, got my puppy, and I brought her home. And that's the last time that I'd heard from Todd until, the evening hours of the 15th. My brother and I, we were in Kimball, Tennessee, and we had just went through McDonald's. We were on our way home, and it started snowing. And I get a message, and it's asking me to come. It's Todd, and he's asking me to come and pick him up. And, I'm not a rude person. I've never been raised to be rude, but I was kind of like, hey, buddy, whoever dropped you off needs to come back and get you, And my brother, he also said, Sissy, I don't want to go and pick him up. And so he called, and I told him no. And right before we got into South Pittsburgh, I looked at my brother and I was like, Chris, we can't just leave him at the park. It's snowing and it's cold. It's the middle of January. And so my brother agreed. We went and picked him up, and I told him, you can sleep on my couch, whatever, for a night, but you have to leave tomorrow. And he agreed to that, you know. So we get in the car. Well, he gets in the car, I'm sorry. And my brother drives us to Stevenson to my house. And so Todd and I, we go inside and we're hanging out in the living room, you know. Uh, I'm just gonna lay it out there. Okay, so like my husband had a couch right here, his couch, and then across the room was mine, and the TV was, you know, right there. So Todd and I had something playing on the TV, and we were talking back and forth, and you know, he was talking about how he wanted his daughter back. We'd gotten to a conversation about me getting the kids home, and I told him to go into a halfway program. That's how I had saved up a lot of money, and that's how I'd gotten back up on my feet. So Todd and I were in the living room, and we were talking, and I was just offering him some friendly advice, some advice that I thought that had worked for me, so it could work for somebody else, you know. And he seemed fine. His demeanor was the same as when I picked him up, and as we get into, you know, on into the conversation, he jumps up off the couch and he starts screaming at me, and it just took a whole turn, you know, like a really bad turn. And so I was really confused, and I wasn't saying much because he was just, you know, he was going off, and he was telling me that I thought that I was better than him and this and that, and you know. That's not at all what I was trying to do or how to come off, and I don't think that I did. I think that at that time, I don't know, something snapped in him. And so I jump up off the couch, and I was fixing to try to get away from the situation, to get away from him, and he headbutts me. And so at that time, I realized how dangerous the situation actually has escalated, you know. So I run down the hallway, and I go into my room and I shut the door. And it's like he barreled through it. And then at that time, he tackled me on my bed, you know, and he was choking me on the bed, and he was telling me that if I even breathed wrong, he would kill me. And I remember like trying to say we're friends, and I remember him on top of me, choking me, mocking me in the and it was humiliating. And then I remember I peed on myself and I saw black, and I was like, you know, is this what it's like to die? You know, like where's the light? And then I woke up and he was raping me. He was raping me, and I started fighting with him. I tried to claw him, you know, like this big guy though, you know. Uh, so I wrestled my way to the side of the bed where he tried to break my neck. And and then I flipped us off the bed into the floor. And he began to, you know, he started choking me again. He choked me out again. And then I woke up the next time, and he was finishing raping me. He was, you know, finishing raping me. And I was just really quiet because he told me again, you know, if you've been breathed the wrong way, then you're dead. So at that point, I just kind of self-preserved, you know, like did everything I could to stay alive. When I woke up from the second time that he had strangled me on the floor, he told me again that if I even breathed the wrong way, then I was dead. He would kill me. So I remember just laying there, and I let him finish doing what he was doing. And And then after he finished, it's like he snapped. His whole demeanor changed again. It was like he was calm. Um, he did remind me that he would kill me if I ever told anybody about what had happened, but he stopped trying. He wanted a cigarette. Like we were just friends again. Like everything was just normal. So I'm like, okay, well, everything's fine. I'm not gonna tell anybody. Just let me call my mom, and I can get her to bring us some cigarettes. And there was a lot of question on why I called my mom and not the police. Well, I've had, my past experience with the police around here, and I don't want to, police bash or anything of the sort, but, my past experiences have not always been great ones, and I wanted my mom. I knew that she would help me or could help me out of this situation more than the police would. It's important for everybody to know that at this time, Todd had complete access of my phone. Like, I didn't have a way to get in touch with anybody. So when mom was called, he actually dialed the number for me and put it on speakerphone. She answered, and this is hard to explain, but I was trying to let her know without letting her know, that I needed her there. It's really hard to do when you're in a situation like that. So, she told me that she had just got off work and that she was tired, and was trying to tell her to get there, get there and come and take me to the store. So, that phone call was made about 10 minutes after the altercation in the bedroom. And it took about 5 minutes, and then my brother showed up. So Todd and I, we were waiting on mom, and we saw him pull up instead. Anyway, so we went downstairs and got into the car. Todd got in behind the driver's seat behind my brother, and I got up front. It takes about, I guess, maybe the store's about a half a mile away from the house, so it didn't take long to get there. There was a little awkward conversation between Todd and my brother. I was pretty quiet. Todd had, given me strict order to not say anything, and so I didn't, because I knew that he was going to kill me. So we pull up to the store. We pull up to Mapco, and my brother always pulls up into the front. Well, Mapco, it's like all glass, right? You can see inside, you can see outside. And he always pulls up right there by the front doors. So I get out and I walk in, and there's two ladies there. There's a clerk, and then there's a lady, a customer. And they're asking me, they're like, "Are you okay? Oh my God." They were really concerned. And I was like, "No, I'm not, but please just keep talking. Just keep talking and act like nothing's wrong, and hand me a piece of paper and a pen. Hand me something to write on." And so they acted like they were having a conversation as I wrote down, my mom's number, one of my girlfriend's numbers. And I'm like, if anything happens to me, if I'm dead in the morning, this is who did it, And I wrote his name down. And I told the clerk to try to get in touch with my mom to let her know what had happened. People asked me why I got back into the car and why I didn't just stay at the gas station. And I just want to, clear that up. There was a man who just tried to kill me in the vehicle sitting directly behind my brother outside of the gas station. So to protect my brother's life, I had to do what the man told me to do, what Todd had told me to do. So, of course, I had to leave the gas station and go and get back in the vehicle. So, anyway, I get back into the vehicle, and my brother drives Todd and I to my house. And as we're exiting the vehicle, which Todd is there with me while we're both getting out of the vehicle, I tell my brother that the clerk, which is one of his high school friends, girlfriends, wanted to talk to him and to head back over there. So Todd and I walked back up into the house. I had my brother left, and we go back into the house, and Todd goes into the kitchen. He's in the refrigerator. I do remember that. And I assume he's getting something to drink. And I go into the living room, and all of a sudden I hear a gunshot. Like, it was so fast. And I go into the kitchen, and my brother's there, and him and Todd are fighting. And I hear my brother yell something at Todd, like, you raped my sister, you tried to kill my sister. And then I remember that, they fought for a minute. And then Todd grabbed my brother with his right hand and his right arm and locked my brother's head. He put him in a headlock. He locked my brother's head. And, I was screaming at him to let my brother go. And Todd was like insane, telling me that he was about to kill us all. And when I say kill us all, he included himself. Like, he was about to get rid of everybody, And I remember looking over at the island right next to me, and my brother's gun was there. And so I pick it up, and I point it at him, and I'm screaming at him hysterically. I'm like, let my brother go, let him go, or I'm going to shoot you. And, honestly, I didn't ever want that to happen. So I was really trying to bluff to get this man to leave my house. And he wouldn't let Chris go. So I'm assuming it was like 5 minutes, Todd just had my brother choked out. And so I'm yelling at my brother. I'm like, Chris, try to get loose, try to scoot back, try to put some distance in between you two. And I remember that. So I pointed the gun at Todd and I shot, and nothing happened. Like, when I shot this gun, nothing happened. So I'm frantic. And I'm just crying. And I remember shooting the gun again, and nothing happened. Like, this didn't faze Todd at all. And honestly, I thought, well, I don't even know how to shoot a gun, something's wrong. And then I remember the last shot I took, they fell to the ground. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I just shot my brother. And I'm screaming, I'm yelling my brother's name. I'm like, Chris, And it took my brother a minute to catch his breath and to get back up. But I remember him getting up and running towards me, and he's like, Sissy, I'm fine. He used to call me Sissy when we were little. And he was like, I'm okay, I'm alive. And he grabs the gun from me. He's like, give me the gun. By that point, he gets the gun from me. I give him the gun, and I'm like, Chris, help me find my phone. And call 911. And so it took us a minute, and I remember Todd had my phone. So we get the phone and call 911, and we put it on speaker. And the lady, she I tell her what happened. that a man had been shot, and she tells us how to do chest compressions and CPR. And I remember I was trying to hold pressure on the wounds and do like chest compressions at the same time. And my hands were so beat up from fighting with him earlier, like, you know, some of my fingernails were missing, and I just couldn't, like, I didn't have enough strength in my hand to do the chest compression. So my brother did that while I did the CPR. And we did that for 27 minutes. We stayed on the phone with this lady from 911 for 27 minutes, living 3 minutes away from the police station, you know. And so I remember I was hysterical. I'm like, where are the police at? You know, like, I don't want this man to die. Like, get somebody here. And finally the police show up. And I remember going out, and they go in, and I'm telling them, well, like, we need somebody in there to do CPR, to pick up CPR on Todd. And I remember the police screaming at me, like, don't exactly remember everything that was said because I was hysterical at this time. You know, I've never been in a situation like this. And at that time, they arrested my brother for murder. My brother told the police that he had shot, and I did too, and I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I ever said that. But in the meantime, I was able to go and get a rape kit done, and I was able to go to the hospital. And then after all that was done, I remember waking up, and it was all real, you know. All of this had happened. It wasn't just a nightmare. It was a real life nightmare. And so I went and I called my attorney, and I told him that I had been the one to shoot. And he came and got me, and we went and he drove me to turn myself in to the investigators. And then I was arrested for murder. And during the 911 call, I had said that I was raped, and then had said that I wasn't. And, you know, there's a lot of questions about that. You know, at that time, I was in a state of I was frantic. I was hysterical. I wanted somebody there to help. I didn't feel like pouring out my heart and soul about what this man had just done to me. I was crying for help. You know, did Todd rape me? Absolutely, yes, he did. He forcefully had sex with me. He tried to kill me during the process. But that is not something that I wanted to spill out on the 911 call. I was more concerned about the man that I had just shot in my kitchen floor getting some kind of medical attention at that very time. And unless you've actually been through something like this or lived through something like this, then you have no idea what is going on in your head at the time. You have no idea what you'll say to just get some kind of help there. Like, you have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth at the time. Was I trying to lie or cover anything up? No. What happened happened. Did I say the wrong thing at the wrong time? Yeah, I said I should have just been truthful. But did I set out with intent to lie to anybody? No. My brother and I both were incarcerated for a few months until we could make bail. He stayed 2 months, and then I stayed a few months after that. I made bail and got to come home. And while I was home, Mom and I, you know, we did a lot of research and a lot of studying up on the laws and this and that. we ran across the stand your ground law. So, we talked to my attorney about that, and they thought it was, he thought it was worth a shot. We went to court for the stand your ground hearing. The judge denied the stand your ground law, and then that was a real letdown, because my attorneys, my family, like mom and I, we really thought that there was something there. And then after that, actually a couple of years after that, the evidence that had been lost for, like I said, a couple of years, fingernail clippings, my rape clothes, and DNA, this and that, it reappeared, but it was too late. It wasn't timely, so we couldn't use that in any of the court hearings. My brother was no billed, which means, that they didn't think that he intended to harm anybody or anything. They didn't think that he did it. So his case was more or less dismissed. He got lying to a police officer about, who shot Todd. But his murder case was dismissed. And I got true billed. So that meant we go on, we push forward, and we go to trial. And during that time, the DA came at me with a few different plea deals. And, I was dead set that I wasn't going to plead out to murder. I didn't murder anybody. But with the choices that I had at the time, it was 14 years straight for manslaughter. I could take it to trial in front of the same judge that had just, shut down any and every opportunity or any and every, stand your ground, any way that I saw out. She had just, closed all of that. So during this time, the DA came at me with 3 different plea deals. One was a 14-year straight sentence for manslaughter. One was to take it to trial in front of the same judge that had overruled any and everything that we had taken in front of her so far. And then one was a 20-5 to serve half incarcerated and then half on house arrest. So I took the lesser of them all to be able to get back home to my family and just for this nightmare to be over for my family. Feel like I was backed into a corner and I had to take what I had to take and I had to do what I had to do to make it home to my kids. So at the end of the day, I was forced to serve 18 months in jail and then 18 months on house arrest. And right now, I'm still on house arrest. I have a few more months of that, and then I'll just be on 5 years probation. So all of this should be over with in 2027.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap that video up. A little bit different from my normal content. I do understand that. This video wasn't for me. This video wasn't to try to gain anything. This video was for one reason, and that was to try to help Brittany Smith, okay? We contacted each other. We talked. She invited me to her house. We did the interview. That's exactly what y'all saw. I didn't edit anything out, okay? The purpose of the video was to explain some of the things that were left out on the nationally released documentary recently. And that's exactly what we did. I went online and got a whole bunch of questions together that I saw in the comments on other things, and I posed those questions to her, and as she told the story, she filled in the blanks. So that was the whole dialogue behind that, the way it happened and why it happened. At the end of the day, I'm here to help out Brittany as much as I can. I'm going to post a link to her GoFundMe in the description box, and I would absolutely love it if some of y'all would go and donate and help her out. And the reason I'm doing that, just to fill in a little of the backstory, when Brittany was released from jail, she was a convicted felon, okay? Where her mother and brother lived, which was her only place to go, wouldn't allow her to live there with her status. So in the midst of her being released, they were trying to find a new place to go. Well, the community found out that she lived there and pretty much had her evicted. They're now homeless and needing help, okay? This is me reaching out. The GoFundMe is going to be in the link below. This girl's trying to get a job. She's trying to do the right thing. She has a good heart. She's trying to get her kids back. And ultimately, that's what I want. I want Brittany to get her kids back. I want her to get back on the right path and pick up where she left off that fateful night. Let me say this also. I'm not judging Todd here, okay? I'm kind of skirting down the middle on this. I'm not going to bash somebody who's deceased. Y'all know how I do it, okay? But what I am going to say is that this crime did happen. Some of the particulars might be left out, and I'm not going to get into that as far as what happened. Only Brittany, Chris, Todd, and the good Lord above knows, okay? It's not for us to judge. Person's in need, and they need help, and that's the way I see it, okay? You have kids that aren't with their mama, and they need to be with their mama. Their mama's got her head on her shoulders right, and she's trying to do the right thing, just like she was before all this happened, okay? I'm gonna get off my box and get out of here, okay? Y'all like, share, and subscribe the video. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, here on YouTube. Y'all can contact me with any more comments y'all might have, questions y'all might have to Brittany. I can forward them to her. Maybe post some more answers on social media or something like that. We'll figure it out as we go. Thank y'all for y'all's time. See ya. Bye.